Let's go ahead and just pick up from we were talking about this DJ conversation. There's a moment when you decide to become a DJ, or it escalates. For you, was it one moment then you said, I'm going to buy some tables, or was it something that was foundationally built?
It was foundationally because I was just in love with hip hop, trying to get in every element. I mean, from graffiti to breakdancing to rapping. I mean, I was trying to do it all. I was just totally engulfed in it. And
what out of the 5 elements, what was the first one that you?
Graffiti.
Graffiti.
Yeah. Because my buddies were into the graffiti, and so they got me right away. I mean, I wasn't tight, but I got up. You know what I'm saying? I was out getting up all over the place.
I mean, when you saw graffiti, was it something you were kind of curious and aroused by, or was it something more to the effect of like,
it was more,
I'm gonna do that now?
Yeah, it was more something like, I'm gonna do it now, and it was more like anti-establishment. You know, I would go and like
against the norm.
Right. I would go and, you know, write stuff on shit I didn't like, you know what I'm saying? So it was just a little kid. And
then how did that transcend into DJ?
Well, people started getting busted for being taggers, and my buddies were like out stealing cans and writing on the, like, scribing on the bus, and I was like, yo, I'm not trying to get in trouble. Like, I was an athlete at the time too, for playing football, so I wasn't trying to risk my, you know, high school career
at that time,
doing dumb stuff. So quit doing that. Just cold turkey. I was over it. And then the rhyming, you know, the rhyming was something that I liked.
Who was like an MC? Because sometimes we do mirror people in the beginning.
Yes.
Like graphic designers, they don't want to admit it, but they not necessarily copy, but mirror.
No, yes. Somebody I want to be just like.
Was there a group or a bunch of MCs?
Bunch. It was KRS-One, Jerry the Damager. It was more Guru. It was more intelligent MCs. I felt like I wanted to be a teacher. You know, I wanted to tell a message or a story, so I try to emulate those guys' style. Rakim, like just smooth, you know, and to the point, but also paint a picture.
But were you like, I want to teach over like something danceable, or were you just like,
I was just like, let me
straight
up backpacker. Let me spit. I'm going to knock you in the head with some knowledge real quick. Because I was smart. I was like a straight A student. Like I was intelligent. So I was able to I'm still intelligent. Right. But I was able
Otherwise, you wouldn't be on this program. No way, man. No dumbasses on TV.
I was way smarter than, but I was, you know, I used my intelligence and facts that I knew to, you know, integrate metaphors into my rhymes. And, you know, people who got it would be like, damn. But it was too deep. I felt like I would never make it commercially, and I needed to make money. So I wasn't trying to rhyme anymore. With the rhyming was where I was introduced to the turntables, the DJ, and this is pre-Serato on vinyl, rocking the loop on the instrumentals, just, you know, mixing instrumentals on vinyl, pulling records, and you know, just digging for instrumentals that I thought I would wanted to rhyme to, you know, progress into digging for records that I want to buy and that I want to mix and that I want to do it all. So that's how, you know, the progression happened.
So it's a case of you wanting to be an MC, looking for instrumentals that helped you to actually acclimate yourself into DJ.
Right, and then introduced me to a good friend of mine who was also MCing, but his brother was a DJ, so we spent a lot of time over there messing with his turntables. And eventually I was like, we used to promote for him 2 parties. So we used to go and promote the parties for him, carry his crates. And I would just see him from the jump, like set up the party, watch him build the party from nobody there. First one that's there, you know, into the room filling up and him creating the energy to build according to the room. He wasn't just in there blowing them away. He was in there warming them up. You know, a few people in the room chilling. They want to chat. They're not trying to sing and dance and act wild with 4 people in the room. So I saw this progression, and then by the end of the night, he's dropping out the volume, and people are singing the song, and I got the chills. And I was like, I want to control people like that.
Now, a critical junction for beginning DJs is the bedroom DJ aspect, right?
Yeah.
Where you spin for yourself.
Right.
Did you latch on to that for a long time, or did you immediately go into the concept of, I'm rocking it for you?
No, I'm still on the for myself.
You're still a bedroom DJ. But I've seen you rock a crowd, though.
Yeah, but that's still for me, though. I'm still playing songs that I would potentially like to party to. And
Okay.
that's how I kind of gauge what I'm going to play. That's why, you know, I work consistently, but I don't work everywhere because I'm not willing to play like certain things because I know they're huge records, but it does nothing for me. The record does nothing for me. When I play it, I feel like a empty. You know, like a lot of these like newer trap hip hop songs that people sit there and rap to like
Right.
the whole time. People love it.
And they just bounce to it.
You could just turn on the volume. They'll sing the whole thing, all 3 verses.
Right.
For me, that's like, it doesn't fulfill me as a DJ. I'm like, it's almost like how I felt about house music, all these long breaks. I feel like it's a lull in energy. I feel like I got to be doing something. I can't sit there and just have my hands in the air and just, you know,
Right.
I come from hip hop. You got to be doing something to impress people, not just standing there with your hands in the air.
But so is it fair to say it's kind of like I play music for my people? Is that fair? Or is
yes,
it, or
but
do you
I'm
have your own definition to it?
I like that. It's kind of like I'm looking for my people. You know what I'm saying?
If you wallflower, you really should join in, but in the same time, those of you dancing, we connect.
Right.
I get you.
So I want, you know, people, you know, I've made a lot of great relationships off of the music I play. People feel like, man, I connect, like I've made friends. A lot of my great friends in LA are people that I met through my music. So, and those are the people that I've found in LA that have been, you know, loyal friends, and that's hard to find.
But, I mean, especially during a pre-interview, I found out that you are an East Coast head when it comes to the golden era of music.
Yes.
Growing up
On the West Coast. Yes.
So let's transcend into that chronological method. How did that come about?
That came about just because, first of all, I was a military kid. My dad was in the Coast Guard. I was born in Valdez, Alaska, moved to Puerto Rico, New Jersey, to Seattle, Washington, to Miami, to California.
Oof.
By the time I was 14. So it's like a lot of moving around. Most of my I never like was settled up until 14. That's when, you know, I think 14 is like the 13, 14 is when you really like in tune, get music, develop a musical taste.
Your foundation.
Yeah, foundation. And so through moving around so much, it was just a lot of my parents' stuff, like always on the road and, you know, just always with them. And, you know, my mom was super 80s. My dad was super like Latin, you know, and jazz and like 80s, like Hall & Oates, like all that sexy Lionel Richie, like, you know, that
soulful rhythm and blues.
Yeah, soulful R&B popish records.
A little bit of funk.
Exactly. So just listening to those. And then when I got to California, San Diego, I started playing football. So, you know, I was actually into rock early because I felt like it was aggressive, and that was the aggression that I liked. I like music that I could like be inspired to like do. Like I was a skater, and you know what I'm saying, do like build up your adrenaline.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The music that made my blood pump. That's what I like, or inspire me to like just kill it. You know,
because it's interesting. You know, sonically, your body and your brain reacts to what you need sometimes.
Right.
So I completely understand. Like if you put in massive puppets,
right,
and you're going, you know what, I'm gonna fucking bench press 500 pounds at this particular point, or in your case, I'm gonna play football. Right. That's what sonically appeals to me. How do you differentiate? It sounds like you do have a mixed background in music.
A lot.
Okay, so how? If I may make this assumption, how did it narrow into hip hop?
It narrowed into hip hop when I started playing football and started getting exposed to more hip hop, like West Coast hip hop, like NWA. All my friends were into like that type of aggressive hip hop, but it didn't really move me. So
became ambient around you.
Yeah, it was just like, you know, I wasn't really into that, so I was looking for other stuff. You know, I was more into the you know, the storytelling and the just it felt like smarter hip hop. You know, more intelligent storytelling, rhyming, expressing yourself in rap rather than violence. You know, mind power. And that's where like a lot of the East Coast stuff, Tribe Called Quest. I was a big Native Tongues fan, and even like of course, Public Enemy, Cypress Hill. That aggression that's what first got me, because they had that rock feel. You know,
right.
They had, the Bomb Squad.
Patterns.
Right. And so that Bomb Squad sound brought me into the hip hop, and then I found the more, laid back, chill.
And semi-soulful.
Yeah. And I found that balance,
So what was the general, I guess if you could name 3, 4, 5 rap entities that you were spinning, I guess. Like, were you mostly like, oh, I'm going to spin some De La first? Is that your first?
Yeah. De La Tribe was like some of the first records I bought when I was DJing. I mean, I started DJing in 98, so I was kind of late. I was about 18, 19. I just stopped playing football. I got hurt and couldn't play football anymore.
And that's straight vinyl.
Straight vinyl, yeah, vinyl.
Okay.
Yeah, and those are the records I collected. Traveling up to LA from San Diego, all through down in San Diego, because I was in the kind of the middle point of. I was on the north end of San Diego, Oceanside, like right when you come in from Irvine.
Right.
So I was like kind of in a good place to be in between deep San Diego to get records and Orange County, LA. So we make those trips up and down and spend all my money.
Now, because San Diego is such a slow school element, do you feel that affected your BPM, your brain BPM? Beats per minute
of course. I felt like, because I was more laid back on the beach. I wasn't into the up-tempo house music at the time. Was like I like some of the more soulful house music. It was even older then. I mean, 93, like the Crystal Waters and the, and...
Not the Lena Santiago.
No, but the soulful house music was cool. But at that time, I mean, I don't even remember. House music was just super techno, like 98, 99, 2002 was like a weird place. So for me, it was like, and super ravey. Everything was raved out. Everyone was raving so hard. And I was like anti-rave. So I'm like, y'all can have that raver shit. I'm going to stay with the hip hop and hold it down for hip hop until it's back. And it never came back. but for people who are getting into DJing now, it's a little bit easier because the BPMs are matched. You can find the BPMs. Well, yeah, they're listed. I mean, I could be straight up honest. I didn't even know what a BPM was until like I hooked up with my Filipino homie DJs who had their shit all marked.
Right.
On the corners. I'm like, this ain't the year this ain't the year this record came out. What is this?
Right.
So those are BPMs. I'm like, BPMs, what is that?
Right.
I'm like, I don't mix by math. I mix by how it feels. So I never understood that. But now with the Serato, it's all lined up there. You can put it in numerical order so that your mixes are going to be pretty much on as long as you have your pitch good, But before I had no idea.
But since you've been DJing for quite some time, I know there's a lot of, I say this proudly, I have a lot of friends who are a little bit resistant to Serato.
Mm-hmm. I was, yes. I was one of the last. I was actually at Power 106 of the promotions department at the time, Flavor Unit.
Ah, okay.
And Serato had come in. I mean, I had seen like the Final Scratch, the first version, and a DJ with Curve had it, and it crashed all the time or it didn't sound quite right. So I was like, whatever, I'm not using that. Vinyl. Plus I was a backpacker, like, holding it down for keeping it real.
Right.
And so then Power 106, everyone started bringing in the Serato. I mean, it was Vice was on it, and Chalk was on it, and then everyone was on it. Even the young guys were jumping. I was like, man, no, I don't trust it. Like, look, you got to do it, man. It's time. And plus, you can carry all these records around. You're stupid.
Right.
Because we had to carry our records to events. Like, I was on the street team, so everywhere we went, we had to carry not only the turntables, but our whatever records or a bag that we were going to play.
Those flight cases get heavy, man.
I'm telling you.
After one lug.
I'm telling you. So I was the last. I was one of the last to switch over. I felt in my crew. And then, but by the time I did, everyone had learned all the tricks. So I kind of got all the insight because they had learned by failures. I just got all the Serato for Dummies tips,
right,
from them. Now,
okay, so you finally accept digital DJing.
Yeah,
it sounds even bad just saying it sometimes.
It's a digital age.
But who were like your heroes that accepted it right away? Did that help? Because I know there were a lot of heroes that were like, I'm just going to embrace this.
Well, it was just my heroes turned into like peers, working at the station, hanging out with them, becoming friends. I mean, Mr. Chalk, all the guys are Fantastic Four. Dope. I mean, it's one of the cleanest. These guys are all on it. My boys are on it, telling me trust it, and I was like, all right. But then also that came into the fact that I didn't even have a computer. I had to go buy a computer.
That's right, because laptops were pretty expensive.
And it was like
$1,500
to get a MacBook to make it work. And I didn't have a computer. I didn't have $1,500. I was on the flavor unit making minimum wage, with DJing a lot. I was actually DJing more on the flavor unit than a lot of guys that were working on air. Because I was in the streets hustling, so I was like getting a lot of gigs. So they're like, you work, you got to get this, you got to get the computer and Serato. I was like, all right, so I got a used computer, a used MacBook, and then I bought the homie's Serato that he stopped DJing. And then I got the hard drive from a couple of buddies. Actually, DJ Mike B gave me a bunch of DVDs to get me going, and got me jumped off with the Serato.
So you never went through that progression of vinyl,
I had
CDs.
a crate.
So you skipped the CD portion.
The only time I used CDs,
oh, good,
was when I first started, because I didn't have enough records to get me through the night. I had a half a crate of records. I was already DJing house parties like 2 months into getting turntables. Not because I was good. I just knew what to play to get people going.
Right.
And so I had a lot of music because I always loved music. I had a lot of CDs, but I didn't have a lot of vinyl. So I would go from my records that I had into a mix into a Discman while I flipped through my Case Logic CD book at a party to play stuff that I didn't have on the wax. So that's the only CD that I did. I've DJed like on CDJs like twice in 15 years, like full club sets. Strictly
two CD CDJs.
Yeah.
When people, you mentioned you were,
but everyone's moving on to it. I'm seeing people prefer the new Pioneers with the jump. It's crazy.
But I used to intern for Power too. What was there's something in your brain where you get addicted to being affiliated with the station. What was that moment like when you said, I have to leave the nest?
I didn't leave. I got fired.
Please enlighten.
I had I'd been there for like 4 years, and
Wow, 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years in the flavor unit, and it was time to turn in air checks. What are we gonna do? Become on air mixers? Get off the air? Whatever. Well, I happened to also audition for like stuff. There had been a casting call that had come through looking for people that could possibly host a show. And at the time on the flavor unit, I kind of changed the game because I came in and like changed, because they used to do like events where like it'd be like a radio. Okay, y'all, we're gonna give away some gifts, but first we got so and so in the mix. So let us know if you want to hear something. Click, and just sit there during a lunch or whatever. When I got there after my 30 days of no microphone probation, I was like, all right, I need everybody to the front, and like rocked the whole lunch hour.
High energy,
like it was a show.
Right.
I'd have the DJ rocking. I would be giving out shirts, getting people who's over here, just easy
showtime at the Apollo.
You know what I'm saying? Easy. In wrestling, call it cheap pop. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just get people. All right, Van Nuys High School. Where my whatever they are, Lobos at.
Right.
And of course, they're all going to scream. They're all Lobos.
Right.
Ladies, fellas,
all my 18th Street gang is gangbangers right here. Tres Violin. Come on, shoot it up. AK-47's in the air.
Yeah, so I changed. So that was, after that it was like, damn, like, all right, that's how we got to rock it now. So they had seen that, and then a casting call had come through the offices looking for someone who could possibly host a show. They're like, they were like, oh, Prophet would be dope for this. So they gave me the information. I went in the audition. Next thing you know, I had another audition, then another callback, and then boom, I got the gig hosting on a startup network in LA called LTN. And it was basically Entertainment Tonight for like a younger demographic, like the up and coming actors instead of like these legends.
Was that Latino centric?
No, it wasn't. It was just, everyone assumed it was
LTN.
But it was local television network. And I think that's where they failed too in advertising, was because people assumed that it was local, it was Latin programming.
Yeah, before you continue, I mean, the car Nova means Nova, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't work, it doesn't go.
Right.
So to me, to the sound aesthetic, I was like, okay, is this a Latin centric?
Right.
But you were never into like Latin centricity when it came to music. It was just beats and soul. Yeah. And whatever connected you sonically.
It wasn't anything ethnic whatsoever.
So you got the gig.
So I got the gig.
Okay.
And then we're shooting 5 days a week, and the boss, Biff, shout out to Biff.
Okay.
He was like, I was like, yo, take me off the schedule because I don't know what my availability is going to be with this TV show. I'm not sure. So he put me on the schedule. I didn't know. I didn't check it because I told him to take me off, and I didn't show up to an event because I didn't know I had to be there.
And you were supposed to be the MC.
Yeah. So I didn't know I was going to be there because I didn't check the schedule. I ended up blowing it for them because I didn't show up, and the people paid money for, on the books. Yeah. And so it was, so for that, they let me go. But I didn't care because I had this TV gig. I was making so much money.
Oh, so the progression was really easy.
Yeah. It was just
it's
like,
kind of
boom.
like girlfriend to girlfriend.
Yeah, it's just like, boom, okay, I'm on TV now. Cool, holler. And then I actually came back and did interviews with my boys who were like Siphon Deluxe, who had just gone on air as personalities. They were on the Flavor Unit with me, got hired the same day.
Right.
So they had made that progression. So I came back to Power and kept my relationship. Radio, you got to keep it.
Absolutely.
Because you never know who's going to be where one day, and you would need something, a job, or you never know who's going to be your boss.
Or anything. Exactly.
So, but they're my friends, and we're family, and open door policy, and so did the TV thing, and it was like cool. And then I was, still DJing obviously, and doing the TV, and it was all good. So
you're doing TV and radio. What made you decide to go back to full on radio and DJ?
Well, the TV network went under, so we all got fired.
Mm-hmm. The 9/11 of all job occupations,
so it just totally went down, and but I still had always been DJing, so it wasn't like the TV was just a bonus, or now the DJing was a bonus with the TV check. And I just had my first son. This is about 7 years ago, and I was back to DJing, and then I didn't get on Kday or back on radio till I'd done some internet stuff, but my buddy was like, hey, Kday's back and they're bringing back mixers, you should turn in a mix, because I do the old school stuff. And so my boy DJ Busy, and I turned in my mix and I got the gig.
So from your recorded mix to Busy to Kday?
No, Busy, I went into Kday with Busy and talked to the PD and the station owner, introduced ourselves. And
is that Jonathan Corral or?
No, Jonathan Corral is DJ Classic. He's just the imaging director.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I met with the program director, who is Adrian Scott, AD.
Mr. AD.
Yes, Mr. AD.
That's right.
He's the PD. Right. And we had ties from San Diego. His brother's Kid J, who I knew pretty well, and he liked my mix, and we hit it off. And so I've been there 3 years now. Now
you're also working one of the legends.
Yeah.
Be Real.
Yes, I work with Be Real.
Tell me about that show.
The Dr. Green Thumb Show on BrealTv. It's his online live programming, 24 hours a day. There's like 10 or 12 different shows. The show I work on with him was started on with him was it was originally called the 420 Show, but now we're getting all commercial and they want to bring it. They took the 420 off, and now it's just the Dr. Green Thumb Show.
Okay.
So that's basically just keeping you up to date on news for our demographic. Music news, interviews with artists and actors and activists. And from that show, after being on there for a year, he was gracious enough to give me a spin-off on my own show with me and a couple buddies, because when he would go on tour, we'd cover the whole show for him. So we developed.
So he trusted you guys eventually.
Yeah, and so we built up a rapport, and their fans became our fan. His fans became our fans, and I was like, yo, let's do a spin-off, because eventually I want to host my own show. And this would be a great start to get it going. And I have a lot of relationships I can bring in and make it pretty cool. And he was like, all right, let's see what you got. So we started the Best Bud Show. It's on Mondays 2 to 3 on BrealTv.
Okay.
And bringing in actors and comedians and wrestlers and all the basically bringing all the stuff I'm interested in, and all my homies that are doing cool things, and giving them exposure and interviews. But they're not just like homies in their bedroom doing their own thing. You know what I'm saying? They're actually really making moves and are on the come up in the industry. Yes.
Did you ever go through, Chris Farley from Saturday Night Live, right? He had a bit where he was interviewing Paul McCartney.
Right.
He was like, remember you were with the Beatles? Did you go through that process with Be Real, or what was it instantaneously?
I'd met B a few times throughout my time in LA through different people. So it was, I don't really get like starstruck like that. Plus working at Power so early when I first moved to LA is like, I got to meet a lot.
To it right away.
Right. I got to meet a lot of people, and really like, I'm never one to like really ask for autograph or, you know, let me get a picture unless it's like a press thing, or, you know what I'm saying? If I see someone on the street, I'm not gonna be like, yo man, let me get a picture.
Right.
Not that guy whatsoever. I'd rather be like cool.
Even when you were younger.
Right. Never.
Pre-Power.
Right. I'd rather be like cool with them. I'd rather be a friend than a fan. And I think that a lot of times celebrities would rather make friends than have fans. You know what I'm saying? If someone comes at you cool or recognize you, but isn't like all up on your shit, you know, all up on you, I think that is more memorable than a fanning out.
Do you think a lot of that has to do with the laid back lifestyle of you upbringing, or was that something regardless of which geographical?
Yeah, I just think it was like just my
location.
uncle was an actor, and he was on, you know, he introduced me to people, and he lived up in LA. So as a kid, I would come up here sometimes, and we'd be out, and you know, I'd meet people, and it was just kind of like normal. It wasn't like became normal early, and plus I was like auditioning and acting early too. So I was kind of in the scene rather than an outsider, you know.
Now, I think a lot of what people don't want to admit are the other bubblegum reasons why we get into entertainment.
Right.
Was girls a big factor for you?
No, never.
Really?
Never. I never worried about girl. I mean, I love women. Don't get me wrong.
Don't we
married
all?
to get
Don't
two
we
kids,
all, man?
but
Right.
it was never about that attention. It was about the gratification of entertaining, making people happy. That was what I was about. That's why the DJing is cool, but eventually hosting is like, I want to be able to connect with people and entertain them and give them the pleasure of peace and entertainment and happiness while they're with me. No other worries in the world. Just chilling and being entertained, laughing. You know, me making a fool of myself for your entertainment. You know, that's really what it's about for me. I want to make people feel as enthusiastic about, you know, life as I do.
Now, not to be anti-West Coast, because I feel like, you know, absolutely, yes, you're a West Coast cat, but a lot of the music that you spin is rhythmically tied to the East.
Yes.
What was that like growing up with a lot of your football buddies who were like, dude, I'm a Dre head, I'm an NWA head? What would you have to go through?
It wasn't so, but that was a good thing about my buddies. They're pretty diverse. It wasn't about, they weren't all in the same gang per se, per music. You know, it was very, you know, we had some guys that were into the rock in the locker room, some guys that were into, you know, just slow jams, R&B, some guys that were into the gangster rap. But I felt like, you know, it was, we all respected each other. I mean, I came up in this small town in Oceanside Vista where we were all on the same team growing up. We were all Pop Warner, go to the high school. So we had known each other for a while and been exposed to each other the whole time. So we know, you know, it was like a family situation coming up through the football. So the music was just like, all right, you get your turn because we like this. All right, but we all get a rotation of, you know, music choices. So now this is going to be the meat and bones of the conversation. It happens to every generation who's into music. It happens to every generation. But I feel like people who are 30 and up belong to this special core of people where we're open-minded to classic anything and future music. With today's hip-hop, you don't have to put yourself on blast. I'll put myself on blast. I just feel like it sounds like shit. Yeah.
Do you feel it's generational, or is it really just a sound shift?
I think it is, well, sonically, beat-wise, it's very catchy. I think they have like they call it the sonic, what is it, the sonic boom or whatever production, where it's catchy. You know, you hear these certain tones in your brain, you're like, okay, I know that tone, it feels good, it sounds good, so I want to hear it over and over again.
Right.
So the music now is just for right now. Nobody's trying to make a classic. No one's making a full album. It's just a bunch of singles. It's something that will stay hot for the next 3 weeks until you got to drop the next song.
Right.
I mean, even these artists, these superstar selling artists are making mixtapes because they can't make albums fast enough because the label isn't.
That's a great point.
The label is not giving them the money to make as many albums as they need to make because they're not recouping. The label's not going to recoup. Nobody's buying albums. So why are they going to give them the money to record an album? You know what? I don't need to. I just go studio to studio, get a compilation of a mix, put it out myself, put it out for free, because I'm going to book shows off that anyway, and booking shows is how I make my money anyway.
So do you feel like people are putting out, by technical terms, albums, but they're really just a bunch of singles?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, other than a handful, I mean, I enjoyed the new Kendrick Lamar album. I felt like that was an album. I felt like I had a...
Who's like the savior of soul and hip-hop right now.
He's the only one who took his time to do it right, I think. Everyone else is such a rush. I mean, I heard about Kendrick Lamar like 4 years ago. He didn't have his album until last year. I mean, there is no more artist development. There's no... Artists have never been through anything anymore to really express themselves. These kids are like 19, popping mollies and drinking scissor. What are they really going to talk about? What have you been through at 19 and you came from, privileged background to where you have access to prescription drugs and the best weed and all that? You know what I'm saying? So that story doesn't move me as much as, the artists from our era, where the music industry wasn't as mainstream. There was no internet, there was no YouTube, there was no Twitter, there was no instant fame. It was on the come up. You hustled, and if you survived and had something to talk about, you talk about your survival story. That's what created great albums.
I'm going to follow up to what you're saying, and I want you to react to what I'm going to say. I feel like because there's a fair amount of youth who belong to the preset generation now. There's no polyrhythmic pattern, so everything sounds the same.
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't that soul of earning the pain of waiting outside of Warehouse or Music Plus to buy concert tickets. There isn't that soulful element of interning 20, 30, 40 hours with work.
Right.
And I feel like nowadays, they just let their parents work a little hard, and then they intern for like 20 hours, and then they don't work. Do you feel that correlates to today's music also?
Yeah, and I think it has to do with the generation of parents being a lot younger. Because as you go
without the foundation,
right? As you go back in time, the parents are older back in time. People used to wait longer and be more mature before they had children. There's a time period in there where a lot of babies having babies, a lot of teenagers right now.
Excellent point.
It's the last like 15, 20 years of babies having babies. Kids have started doing it a lot earlier, having babies a lot earlier, and so that there's no time to develop their kids themselves. They're developing along with their children. So the age gap, there's no time to really build any foundation because they're just trying to survive. Usually living with the grandparents, and it's and a single parent, so it's a horrible balance. And it reflects in the music because people are not in depth. People are not thinking. They're just thinking about right now because that's all they got. No one's thinking about the future. No one's thinking about the past because the past is painful, and they don't have a past and had a messed up childhood because their dad wasn't around. They were raised by a baby, teens having babies. So it's like, that's where the music went wrong, really. I'm telling you.
Right. And not to defend ourselves, so we're not musical dinosaurs here.
No.
Because we embrace the technology.
No, yeah. I mean, we just know that, the quality of the music is obviously different. I mean, even my 4-year-old kid knows, like, the difference.
That's because your 4-year-old child's dad is DJ Prophet.
Exactly. He's hearing me review my mixes, and then he's hearing the radio, and he knows the difference. He's like, this ain't you. I'm like, you're right. It's not me.
Nice. Are you encouraging them, or to get into music?
Yeah,
or
yeah. I mean, it's natural.
Organically?
Music's always going on in our house, whether I'm mixing or my wife is getting ready. Being Puerto Rican, it's a big part of our culture. If there ain't loud music on in the house, it's not a happy house.
Right.
Straight up. I mean, there's got to be. Music is a soundtrack to life. You know what I'm saying? And if you got good stuff going on, you should be bumping some good music.
What do you feel about Ableton mixers?
It's a useful tool. I just don't. It's a useful tool, but I just don't like the. It's just easy, you can make it sound super clean, and it fools the general public because now when people hear like a slip of a snare or a little bit of an off cut, it's like, ugh. Oh, that's horrible.
Right.
They're used to computerized flawless. Even the cues, like I see so many cue mixers. Just rub the record, man.
Right.
Girl, rub the record.
Add some swing to it.
Or this thing where they like push it along and watch the, and there's even auto sync and you can morph the beats into each other with the Ableton. I've tried to make a little mix on there, but just couldn't bring myself to it. on the, because I downloaded the trial, you know,
right,
and I started throwing songs in there. I'm like, man, this is just so, it's crazy. You can make the craziest things happen.
It's so modular, right?
Man,
it's like beep, beep, beep.
I just don't work like that. It had the mix ended up having like just felt it felt computerized, soulless. It just feels like instead of like progressing the record to build, you know, it's just
and let it be organic,
right? It's just felt like, okay, I'm gonna pick a bunch of high energy records and just smash them together because you know, it's just like, it's not for me. I mean, I've never been I just like playing other people's music. I like to, you know, I'm not so much of a producer. I like, you know, I just enjoy manipulating what other people have made.
Now, there's a big difference between DJing for clubs and DJing for radio.
Yeah.
So for the cats who, let's say, want to establish themselves as radio mixers, what do you recommend, and what's the frame of mind should they be in?
I'm kind of well, as far as radio mixers, I don't mix according to radio. Radio is very programmed. People that are good at programming and making lists and rehearsing and line for line make great radio mixers. For me, I'm not that type of guy. They give us a list. Like, here's my process. They send me an email list of the songs they want me to play. I pick those songs out of my iTunes, put them in a crate, and then
This is for the radio.
This is for the radio. Okay. And then I take those songs and I go in to put them in the crate in Serato, and I pick my first song. Hit record, play my first song, and then I go. I mix off a feeling, not off a BPM or A's, B's, C's. It just ends up working that way because I know what the A's and B's and C's are, especially with the Kday.
Right.
Because it's not normal A, B's, and C's.
Correct.
It's not top 40 spins, and it's just what tests good for us.
It's not even hot urban AC.
No, it's just
its own niche.
Its own niche. So, so I get a lot more freedom than anybody on radio, I would say, other than in commercial radio. And plus, me being there so long, they know that they call me the backpacker because I'm always playing. Like we have gimmies. We get to our own choices.
Right.
We get 4 for. We're supposed to only have 4 for every 2 hours. But, you know, some people push it like me, but as long as people don't tune out, because I'm digging, I know music, so I'm digging some stuff that somebody hasn't heard in a while, and I get it all the time, and I get a lot of love, you know, online or whatever, usually because of those gimmies, those choices that I do get.
Do you still buy vinyl, or are you strictly digital now?
Man, unfortunately, I do not buy any vinyl. It's just, you know, I got kids. I got to buy food. I got to buy.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I got to pay bills. I got to make sure they got shoes.
That's why I noticed, like, on Facebook and Twitter and people I follow, it's, you know, some of them have the snobbiest tweets, but it's like, dude, you don't have to feed a second, third, fourth mouth.
Right. No. So I'm raising my kids. I'm not like that was a great experience I had. I got all the records I want. You know what I'm saying? I got all the classics. There aren't any new records I want to buy on vinyl, so I can hear it on vinyl. There's no. You know what I'm saying? I have all my nostalgic stuff up on my walls in storage, and I keep it there. But to get back to the radio DJing, you got to be clean, and you got to know your music. You know what I'm saying? You got to know the songs you're playing. I hear so many times you can tell a young DJ, even on our station, you know, you can tell the guys who don't know the music because they don't know where to mix out, or they'll get the third verse in. They don't know how many bars the hook is, because some of the older stuff is only like a bar and a half of a hook, and then it gets back into the third verse. And then on the radio, if you get into the third verse, or you got to mix out into the verse, that's like taboo. You don't want, that's dirty. Even if the mix is off, even if the mix is totally clean, if I got the third verse coming on, I got to get out in the third verse. It's just not as clean as possible.
That's really good technical advice, because, you know, sometimes they just get reliant on a waveform, right?
Right, exactly. So they see the waveform is coming up, but sometimes the third verse comes in, or, you know, and learn the effects. You know, the effects are there to make you sound cleaner. So learn them and really mess with them. People are so robotic in the effects. There's so many different things you can do, you know, as far as the timing and the tones and the where you clip the sample on the, you know, on the echo or whatnot. I mean, you can create whole new loops, and I just say that cleanliness and learn your technology on the tables.
And that all falls in the parent bracket of blending.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta make on the radio in the club. It's one thing. Nobody cares in the club. I mean, let me tell you, I DJ a lot of different venues. I mean, I DJ the Beverly Hills, you know, snobbity snob.
Right.
They pretend to be pretentious, but they're not. And I DJ, you know, in downtown LA. I DJ in Hollywood, you know, and they are. It's a different crowd every time, and they don't. Some of them like don't care for the mix. You're taking. You ain't got nobody time for a mix. Just play the song. Especially now in the instant gratification, like especially like I'll just, you know, a lot of the urban hip hop clubs, the black clubs. There's no reason to mix. Just play the hit.
You can just cut right through.
Cut right through. I noticed that. I'm like, dang, I feel like these people are bored with my mix. I'm a room builder. I want to build it up. You know what I'm saying? I want to make it smooth. I want my mix to be even better sonically than the actual two songs separately. I want that mix to sound so good you wish it was the freaking song.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what that's what I take joy in. But it felt like it feels like, you know, people just want the hit. They don't want no blend. They just want to rap the whole time and do the damn song. Get to the damn song.
So you can't, if you were playing like Drake, you can't
just
like,
cut it in. It's not like house music where you got to build the energy. Just cut the song. Doesn't even matter. You can cut in the middle of the verse, right at the hook. Play one hook. Play two words. Drop it in the next song. It's like the ADD of the club scene has gone from, you know, build the night to just get it cracking instantly.
Right. It's no longer chapterial, right?
No, it's just get it cracking.
Where
it's go time. They could turn up. Let's turn up.
But do you find it like the closing DJs, the ones from 1 to 2, are still on high energy, or are they the down tempo small room type DJs?
No, I don't know, man. I feel like the clubs are going like 3 to 4 now, so people aren't really getting going till 1.
It's all going.
It's
non-stop.
all go. Even the openers got to go. That's why I feel bad for a lot of these openers because it's not their fault that they're. It is their fault that they're burning the closer, but it's just that they're inexperienced. They don't have the depth of music to play high energy music that's a little bit older than what they know right now. They just started DJing usually as an opener. So what's their music collection?
Common.
Right, of course. It's usually a promoter and a beginner DJ, so they bring in their crowd. Everyone's hyped that they're DJing, so that's how they get their people in for free. So they're playing what they know, and that's all they know because they just started. They're 21, 24. What are they going to play, you know? They get nervous. They see no one's on the floor, so they play the stuff that they know is a hit, or they're trying to impress the promoter. Say, look, I can headline too.
Yikes.
So it's and no one's teaching them. Everyone's like, yeah, man, you're killing it. Even the closer DJ's like, oh man, tweeting about it, but you're not checking the guy. Like how are people supposed to learn unless you tell them? You know.
But at this particular point of DJing, you're sticking to your guns for the classic era.
I mean, I just enjoy that. I've got a lane now where people like want me to like hire me to do that. To hire people, people hire me to do what I do. If you hire me to do what you want me to do, it's not going to work out. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's just not. I've been doing this, 15 years. I know what it takes to have a good party. I can play new stuff. I can play old stuff. I can play progressive stuff. I play it all, but just let me do what I'll see what they want. You can't come in like a lot of guys are just cookie cut, do the same set, same club set. Everyone's downloading the same club killer songs. They got the same email blasts and all these edits, so it gets repetitive and redundant. And when I come in and DJ, I mean, I've had people tell me, man, I know within 2 records that it's you DJing.
Nice.
2 records.
So you have your signature style. That's good because when you get a following.
Mean, that's what it used to be about.
Absolutely.
Now it's just about marketing and promotion. If you look good on the flyer or can bring a bottle service, you're in.
Yeah, it is a numerics game now because the promoters are now acting as if they are the owners of the club too.
Right.
They want to know about the sliding scale, and I know we're talking about in-depth conversations about throwing an event and promotions, but it is numerics now. It's like PPM, like the personal people meter.
Right. So I've gotten off on just having my own events. I lock in residencies. I find places that like what I do. I'm consistent. I come up. I'll show up week after week, same style, different set. I'm never repetitive on my sets. I'm going to be playing certain songs because I love them and they get them going every time. They're instant home runs with me. So I find joy in residency and consistency, man. I don't want to be out in the clubs, schmoozing with promoters till 5 a.m. You know,
Time to
every
get home
night.
to the
Exactly. I
baby
gotta,
moms and the kids.
right.
Yeah.
You know, I got things to do. I gotta get up at 7 a.m. and take my kid to school, make them lunch.
Now, where can people find your mixes? Your internet portals.
Yes,
Twitter,
I have a website under construction. It is djprophet.com. It's DEEJAYPROPHET.com. I have a SoundCloud under DJ Prophet. All my mixes are free for download. On Twitter, I'm at DJ Prophet. Instagram, I'm DEEJAY Prophet. Someone got my handle. It's Punk Kid in New York. We're totally different genres. Why does it matter if I have your name? That's what he keeps telling me. I'm like, fool, because you suck.
Dude. Right. I'm OG, man. That's what it is.
And then also have a Facebook page, The Only DJ Prophet. So I'm online, you know, I'm tweeting. I'm mostly tweeting just where I'm gonna be at. I ain't got time to be bickering with people, or I try to support. I try to support my homies. I'm not trying to hate on anybody. I try to, you know, big up people doing big things. Nothing makes me feel better to see my friends succeeding and doing great things. I try to support them as much as possible, and you know, and get that in return. So
cool. Appreciate that.
Plug 1, 2 TV.